Hey, what's going on? So, just finished recording a new episode of Enterprising Mind and figured I would give you a behind the scenes tour because that's actually one of the things that people ask us. How in the world are you doing this podcast on top of your day job, on top of family, on top of all this stuff? So, um, if you're interested in starting your own podcast, this is the way I do it. um, and it's a nice kind of summary of all the things that we've talked about in 2023 episodes about AI and optimizing processes with AI. Um, so yeah, we'll start with a quick little studio tour, which is just my office guitar room. And then we will go to the computer you see behind me, and we'll talk through editing and post production. So I'm usually doing it at the standing desk here. You can see, work computer, work setup, plus the monitor. I only use my own personal stuff for this stuff. If you've ever read your employment contracts, don't ever merge the two. Um, and Yeah, so that's an important caveat. You can see there. Now behind me, you'll see the normal background that we usually have. And then here's the lighting setup. I got these LED box light ups. I'm using indirect light. That's behind me to get the backlight. Over here, you can see the one. I'm actually bouncing it off of the wall behind the screens there, and then using the natural light from the road or from the outside to do the majority of the lighting. So that's the lighting setup. I have this is a wonderful webcam. If you want to go more professional, get like the Sony, or the Canon, like actual cameras. But for most people, good enough is good enough, right? You only have so many funds to do what you need to do. So I have this Logitech 4K. This thing's wonderful. This Shure SM7V, I think, is what it is. This is a wonderful mic. It is beautiful. That's primarily what we have going on for my setup. I will shout out the headphones while recording, so you have no audio bleed. That's an important step. So yeah, let's get going over to the post-production desk, and we can talk through that setup. All right. All right. Hey, what's going on? We are now transitioned to the post-production desk. Quick thing on microphones. I did say the wrong thing. It is the Shure MV7 that I'm using for recording this, as well as any business meetings. It's just that really nice audio quality just brings it to a next level. I will say, if you are thinking of doing any kind of podcasting or recording out into the world and not having a dedicated studio, I do have two recommendations. This is the part of the Rode Podcaster. It is a directional mic, which means where you point it, it picks up. It comes with one of the big fuzzy balls for a windscreen. This is what I was using when I was talking into my phone for the intro of this show. Another one that I would recommend would be this Sennheiser MKE 400. It is essentially a boom mic that you would find on more professional recordings in a mobile package. The only downside is, you can see it has this mic out. So if you are using if you're using an Apple iPhone or anything, you would need one of these dongle extensions to get the audio into your phone. However, this is a little bit better. Now, with any of the tech or any of the things that I show. This is about 4 years of iteration to get to where we are today, for the setup that we have. The most important thing, like any project, is just to get started. So just use what you have and level up as you find yourself doing more, or find out if you don't like it, right? And because that's the other thing, right? Test and iterate, as Ruthi would say. So yeah, that being said, now once I share my screen here, oh, you can see that there's a little software program that comes with the Shure mic that is quite nice. If you want to, you can do a lot of stuff on this. One thing in terms of audio that I would say is if you use any of the built-in voice fixers, for a lot of people those will be great. It does improve things wonderfully, especially with some of the AI functionality. For me, though, with the music production background, I find that it can overly compress the voices, which just means it's not as full and as nice to listen to. It can sound like you're talking into a tunnel or something. So that's just something to play with, what you like, and what you don't. So the process, once we shoot, we use Zoom to do the meetings. We've played around with some other things. Other options are, tools like Descript or Squadcast or any of the Riverside, any of those things do a fine job. But for us, we've discovered that Zoom is what works for us. And one feature that we've been using recently, which has been really nice, has been the meeting summaries, the AI meeting summaries. That has been, actually, I forgot to turn that on. So the AI summaries via Zoom are a great starting point in terms of what occurred in the meeting. And then you could use that to write a blog about any episode that you come up with. But as it goes to the Enterprising Minds podcast, what happens is you get this output from Zoom. You can see here that it's just awful, the the file names and whatever else. So the first thing I do immediately is to put all of this into this nice little titled, here's the raw file, audio video files, miscellaneous meeting files, so that everything can be nicely titled and in one place, right? So what I use is Logic. First, I take the audio and I have custom presets in Apple Logic for Alex, Ruthi, and myself based on the equipment that they have. And I played around in the beginning with EQ settings and some compression settings for each of us, so that we have a really nice drag and drop post-production kind of setup. The biggest thing, if you want to do this on top of everything else you do throughout your day, is to use templates. Build out a template and leverage that like crazy. That is the only way that I'm able to do all of this and not, lose my mind. So you can see this opens up, and what I typically do, I will save a copy. So here's the episode that was just recorded, or one of the episodes that was just recorded. We typically work in batches, which is great, because then we can save a bunch of time, and we can have some things in the backlog, because, like all of having young kids and working and having time to do something that you're interested in, life just gets in the way sometimes, right? Sick kids, daycare plagues, all that kind of stuff. So having having a number of things scheduled ahead, I would put that as a top thing. So now that I've saved that, we can come in, but I bring the exported things from Zoom. They're rather high, M4As, but you can see they're titled to the individual channel, the individual speak. So I just drag and drop, and it will process. So since Ruthi wasn't with us on this one, we're done. All right, now one thing that I do is I normalize the gain. So what does that mean? That means that I will expand the volume because not everybody's right up on a microphone perfectly. And I want everybody to be at the same volume level for the export piece. So you can see, as much as I like Alex, he tends to be a soft speaker, right? So this is important for people like him, where he might start at a high volume but then tail down. A lot of people do that. So this is just a nice way to boost his speaking to where everybody else is. This also prevents clipping. So that distortion sound you hear when the volume's too high on the input side. So this prevents that, keeps a nice clear audio. With that, you can see here I have specific channel EQ, compressors, and then a limiter on there, again, to prevent any of that from the volume and gain being too high and distorting the volume, because when things clip, it distorts. So for Alex, here is just a little preview here. Nothing really fancy. I just did a preset. I played around with the various presets in Logic, and you can see where I've boosted his voice. And wanted a little more in the uppers, a little more in the mids. Same. This is a little nerdy, but for the three of you that will find this interesting, Alex and I share a very similar EQ range with our voices. So I ended up taking some EQ out of his, where there was a lot of overlap with mine, and played around with it so that we have different EQ settings as they relate to the both of us, so that my voice occupies a very specific frequency range, his voice occupies a specific frequency range, while also retaining kind of a natural sound. This way your ears will hear the difference, and it won't be so muddy when we inevitably talk over each other. This is a very common thing with kick drums and bass guitar. They occupy the same thing, so you scoop out certain EQ frequencies to make space for both instruments and provide some separation. So just a little trick there. So now that these are normalized, I'm not doing any editing in here unless they change the their podcasting setup, which none of them have. So I just find out where the end is here, and then we will bounce this to disk. I save it as a high quality file, the AIF, or a WAV file, as well as an MP3, just to have some options. 660, just to have some options, because throughout the signal chain you will get some compression. You will get more and more of that frequency just kind of destroying itself. Okay, so you can see here the selection or the options for all of this. I like to go to the next measure above the end of the file, but you can see we're bouncing to AIF, that higher quality, as well as MP3, just to have some options, like I said. And then this will go through and be done. Okay, so while this is bouncing, why do I separate this audio piece from the video piece? Part of it is control, and part of it is because as I've played through the options available on the market in terms of audio editing and automating things where you can, when it comes to having 3 people or 2 people on a project, on a video call, having more control over some really nitty gritty things is my preference. Do you need to do it this way? Probably not. If you're going to be doing multiple hosts, or doing screen shares and b-roll and whatever else, then yeah, I would recommend this. That'd be, the higher quality stuff. We'll probably use some of this stuff. I would say that if you invest in something like Zoom or StreamYard or high quality equipment on the front end, right, like the microphone, like a proper video camera, all of the inputs on the front end are going to be better, and it will save you a lot of editing. So the more perfect you can have on your inputs, whether it's video or audio or whatever else, that's just going to be better, and it will save you a lot. If you are just recording some, kind of like a diary show or random thoughts kind of thing, you know what, your iPhone and your iPhone has a really good mic in it, and that's probably good enough, just recording that and then leveraging your podcast host, and things like Buzzsprout, the tool that we use, has magic mastering, which can be worthwhile if you are completely unfamiliar with audio editing. That could be a great option. Like I said, I like to have a little bit more of control, also because I have that audio background. So yeah. Okay, great. So this finished bouncing. Now I'm going to open Final Cut, and we can get into what the video editing looks like.
Hey there, what's going on? Just jumping in here quick. So I had originally intended this to be straight through showing you what the progress or whole process is for creating one of these episodes. And I got to admit, it was really long. So I think from here on out, we will split it into 2 or 3 episodes. And this will be the end of the first one, focusing specifically on audio recording and the process for that. The reason for doing that is a lot of people will just do audio only, right? Not everybody will do the video component, and that's totally cool. But wanted to at least give you insights into part of the process. Jump over to davedohertymedia.com/enterprisingminds, where you will find the link to this episode and all of the tools that were listed and all of the mics that were listed, so that you can go easily grab those and find out specific information on anything with the process. So thanks for hanging in. We will see you in the next episode of Enterprising Minds. Thanks, and see you then.